Welcome to my online class. Today we're going to look on how we can use PowerPoint presentation as one example of Microsoft Word document or Microsoft document. Now if we want to use Microsoft document and an example which is PowerPoint presentation typically provide you with workspace where you are able to fix in your content. For instance, if you have a wider topic you want to teach, you can teach using PowerPoint presentation. Basically it helps teachers and it helps you when you want to present your work. Now go to your screen. We're going to use PowerPoint presentation right now. If this one is my workspace, this one is my screen, this is typically what I'm going to do. I go to the desktop of my screen, then I create new. But what new are you creating? You are creating a new of PowerPoint presentation. Now of course it will requires you, it will bring a folder and we are going to rename that folder, right? For instance, this one will be the use of PowerPoint presentation, but we are going to select one of the topics we are going to learn today. Okay, we are going to learn about communication, and let us name this folder as communication. After naming that folder, this is what we are going to do. You enter into that folder. Make sure you enter that folder, you open that folder. Now this is what I'm talking about. A PowerPoint presentation provide you with the slides or workspace or pages where you are able to calculate, you are able to give your content, and this is how you use it. Now this one is our workspace. We make it large enough to be seen by our users outside there, and we have the table bar here. We have this workspace what I'm talking about. Now what we are going to do, we have a topic. For instance, we have chosen, we are going to teach about communication. What we are going to do, we are going to start providing our workspace. What I'm doing is, after selecting a workspace or a page, it will be here, but in PowerPoint presentation we call them slides. You go typically to the insert to home table, and then you come to new slides. You come and tab here new slide. You look where my cursor is. For instance, now I am going to choose the kind of slide I want to use. This one is saying title slide. For title slides, it provide you with the titles, then it give you that ability also to provide content. Up here you're going to write your title. Now for instance, when I want to talk about communication, I'll start with the title. Now what is that title I am talking about? It's about communication. After clicking this one, yet it is empty. It provides you provision here to click to add title. What is my title? What really do I need to add here? For instance, my title, what we have chosen is, we are going to talk on communication. We are going to teach about communication. This one is our title. Of course, the person talking about the communication, you also include there. Now who is this guy talking about communication? It's me. And this one we are going to use it as an introduction page also. And typically I come and write my name. You write your name there. You enter your name there. After writing your name, if there's something you would want your audience to know about it, for instance, I have included my name and who am I, how do they call me? I am typically a student of Gulu University, and this is some of my details. And this one is my contact number. I'm giving them my contact number, and I'm giving them my email. I'm giving my audience my email, because this I will use it as part of my introduction, and that is my email. That is my email. Now this one is first slide. We are done with first slide. What we are going to do, we are going to add into another slide. But now what slide are we going to add? For instance, I am going to another slide. I'm going to teach about communication, but now I can't just go and start talking about communication. What are my presentation outlines? That will take us into another slide. That is presentation outline, and that one will be title and content. You come here to add title. The title here will be presentation outline. Presentation outlines. Now what shall be, okay, when I am presenting this work of communication, I am going to teach my learners about this communication. What am I going to start with? First of all, I am going to start with the introducing myself. Introducing myself, and that one we are calling it introduction. We are calling it introduction. After introduction, I am going to define for them what communication is about, and that one we are calling it definition. After definition, what we are going to do, I am going to tell my learners what are some of the importance of our topic. For instance, our topic about here is communication. I'm going to tell them about the importance of communication. After telling them the importance of communication, I am going to tell them, one of the notes I've prepared is I want to let them know about the levels of communication. After the levels of communication, I can also use, I can also give them means of communication. Means of communication. Now if I'm done with this, maybe they have some questions. I will take that time to answer their questions. I'll take that time to answer their question. Then after getting done with the question, I am going to conclude my lesson. And that is conclusion. Now after us getting done with this slide, what we are going to do, the previous slides or the next slides we are going to learn is all these slides. We are going to create a slide of definition. Now let us go and select a new slide from what we have been given. We're going to select title and content. Now under title here, our slide 1 is about communication introduction. Slide 2 is presentation outlines, and we are going to start with introduction, which we have done with in first slide. We are going to the definition. Now the next slide, it will be about definition. Now what is communication? What is communication? You give them that definition. Communication can be defined. Communication can be defined as sending, receiving, of message from the sender to the recipient. And there must be feedback. When we are defining communication can be defined as sending of message and receiving of that message, the same message from the sender to the receiver, message from the sender to receiver. From the sender to receiver, and there must be feedback. Now, what is the next slide we are going to? The next slide we are going to is the importance of communication. Let us go and select a new slide, and we are going to select a new slide, and that new slide is about title and content, and under the title and content it will be about the importance. We are going to write the importance of communication. Importance of communication. What are some of the importance of communication? We find that communication influences how you learn. One of the importance is it influences how we learn. It influences how we learn. It influences how we learn. It also helps in demand. It helps in placing demand. Help in placing demand in the business. You find that the businessmen also use this communication in the business, and it also it's valued in workplace. It addresses problem in it is valued in workplace. When you go to workplaces, people use communication, or the employees and the employers, they use communication to convey their message among others. Now, let us say this one are some of the importances of the communication. The next slide we are going to create is a slide of levels of communication. Levels of communication. The next slide we are going to create is about levels of communication. Levels of communication. What are some of the levels of communication? We have one level of communication called interpersonal communication. With interpersonal communication, then we have extrapersonal. We have extrapersonal communication. Extrapersonal communication. And we have also group communication, where you come and talk in group. Let us say we have one of the presentation is about group communication. It's about group communication, and let us say that one is done. Group communication. We are going to create another slide, and that slide will be for the means of communication. What can be some of the means of communication? We are going to create another slide, and that slide will be over title and content about the means of communication. You go typically write the means of communication. Means of communication. Let us say we are going to learn how we can use how we can communicate by use of by use of radio. Another one is by use of phones, maybe by use of phone. Another one is by, let us say those two are enough, by use of phone. The next slide, it will be for question and answer. Yes, the next slide, it will be for question and answer. Typically we go and select a new slide, then it will be title and content, and that is about question and answer. I will take that time to get the question from my learners and answer them. Now please, I would love to answer your questions. If they are there. I give this time for question. Then we are going to create another slide for conclusion. Title, it will be conclusion. Then I'm going to thank them. Thank you for your audience. We have 8 slides here. This one is slide number 8, this one number 7, number 6, number 5, number 4, then up to number 1, up to slide number 1. This one is slide number 1. You are going to organize your slide, like for instance you would want to insert some picture. Here. This what you can play with them. You can pick this one, you bring up, you can pick it, you bring up, and you can make it capitalized. And when you want to make it capitalized in your home here, you come back to your home, then you select it must be in uppercase. You want to put it in uppercase, you can change the color, you can change the font size. Now we have put this one in 60. You come to this drop down, then you're able to play up with many things which we learn in Word. And I want to make this one in capital letter. You come home here, you come, first of all I want to make it bold, then I want to make it in uppercase. I can make it in uppercase. I come here, I want to drag this one into the extreme end. I can make it into the extreme end. All this one I can make this one all to the extreme end by just taking that to there. Make them to the extreme end. I want to make them to the extreme end. I want to make them to the extreme end. Now this space here, this workspace remaining here, I can use it to insert. I can use it to insert my pic. I can use this one to insert my pic. If I want to insert my pic in this place, what am I going to do? What I'm going to do, I'm coming here to insert. When I come to insert, it gives me many options. I come and look for where there is pic. I want to insert this pic here. Then of course I'm going to select it from my device, and this is my internal device. I have some pic in the desktop here. I can come and put this one here. Now I drag it to this space. This is what I want to add. I can drag it to this space. I can drag this one to this space, then I insert. Now the pic will appear here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to organize it such that it doesn't cover much of my space. I'm going to organize it such that it can be seen well. This slide is done. I go to the second slide. What is there something I would want to do? Typically I type here. If you find there's some missing letter or missing word, you have that provision to correct them. But now what I'm going to do, I want to make my work look a bit organized. In my content here, what I am going to do, I am going to give this one some alignment and some spacing, and this is how I want the spacing to be. I want to use the Roman numeral. Now if I want to use the Roman numeral here, what I'm going to do, I first make sure I select all this one. After selecting it, I can make it from 1 to 2. It is based on your preference. I can make it from Roman number 1 to 2. I can make it from A, B, C. This one is done. I'm going to make it in A, B, C, D. I come and enter it. After enter it, it's done. I go to another slide. Is there something I need to do? Yes, you typically tap in, then you make sure you select them by highlighting them and bringing them to this side, and I want them to be in forms of Roman number 1, 2, 3. That one is done. I go to the next slide. I do the same. First of all, I select by highlighting them, then I make sure they are at the extreme side. I give them their Roman number from Roman number 1 to 2. Then I come here, I select, this one I want to make in capital letter. What I do, I begin by selecting. I make sure that I select this one by highlighting it. Then I can make it in uppercase. Then I come here. After coming here, what else am I doing? I'm going to select them. You make sure you select them because you want to work on them. Then you make the Roman number 1, 2, 3. You go to next slide. That is the important. By selecting it, you give it a Roman number. You go to the next slide. You select it. After selecting, make sure you highlight them. After highlighting it, you give it a Roman number. After giving it a Roman number, it's done. You go to another slide. You select, you give. After selecting, you highlight. After highlighting, you give it a Roman number. You go to another slide. Then you select. After selecting, you make sure you give it a Roman number also. And this one we are going to increase the size up to 24, 36. Then we make sure they are the extreme side. Make sure it's at the extreme side. Then you come to the last slide, and this one you're going to make it in capital letter also. What we do, we begin by selecting. After selecting that section, you highlight it, then you make it in capital letter in uppercase. After making it in uppercase, you come here, you give it also a Roman numeral. You give it a Roman numeral 1, 2. Now we have our slides here. This one is slide 1. you make sure it's not covering your work. If it's covering your work, you're going to adjust it such that it can be seen. We're going to talk about communication. Slide 2, it will be about the introduction. Now we find that there's some problem here. It gives you that provision it gives you that provision to correct your work. Then this one is slide 2. Slide 3, it's talking about, we are going to talk about the definition, but we find that the definition is here. Now when you look at slide 2 and slide 4, slide 4 must come before slide 3. If you find that you have made some mistake like that, what you need to do, you drop your slide, then it can be replaced just like that. Simple thing. This one we make it in uppercase. We make it in uppercase. This one slide 2 correct, slide 3 correct. If you have some problem, you can correct it instantly. This one is slide 4. Any problem, yes, you might find that there's some problem there, you can correct it. After correcting it, we go to slide 5. Any problem, if you have, you can correct them. Now the work is from slide 1 to slide 8. From slide 1 to slide 8. From slide 1 to slide 8, and I want to correct my what? I want to correct my what? It's done. One unique feature about PowerPoint presentation is when you are dealing with PowerPoint presentation, you can make your work have a better look. How can you make your work have a better look? When you want to make your work have a better look, of course you have from slide 1 to slide 7 to slide 8. From slide 1 to slide 8, I want to give it a better look. I will come to animation, I'll come to transition. After coming to transition, I select all this one, I want to work on them. Then I come and tap on that slide, which is slide 1. I want it to appear in an organized way. I want it to appear in an organized way. I'm going to apply this one, and after giving the effects, it will mark here that, oh, you have applied on that one. Then I come to number 2. I want it to give it a night one. It will show for me here that, oh, you have worked here, you have given a transition onto your slide, and it will be marked by a star there. Then you come to 3. I want to give it a slight look when that is coming. When that slide is coming, at least it should come in a good manner. I go to another slide, that is slide 6. I give it a correct push. This one I'm going to select wipe, and the effects are going to be seen there. I am going to select push. Then I come to my last slide, I am going to select push. Now after me putting here the slide push, it also provide me the provision of time. How long do you want this transition effect to be there? For instance, I've selected here 2 seconds. It's here, it shows the time. I am selecting 2 seconds. Typically I'm coming here, then typing 2. I will bring it to go to 2 or 3. For instance, I've made that one to be 3. After making it to be 3, there's some problem here. After making it to be 3, I am coming to the slideshow. After the slideshow, then I'll apply to all, and I'll start from the current slide. And for instance, our current slide is slide number 1. I'm going to start from the current slide. Then we're going to see how this one will come. This one is gone. We go to another one. This is how it will appear. A slide of presentation outline. We go to another one. Importance of communication. We go to another one. We have means of communication. We go to another one. Questions and answer. Then the last one, if it's there. For instance, this one is done. This is how you use I want to make this one in uppercase. It can still provide me. I come to home. After coming to home, I want to make this one in uppercase. I can yet make it in uppercase, but I want to reduce the size such that it is understandable. It is understandable. That is done. I can even change the background. You come to your design. And you change the background. For instance, I want the background to be dark, and I apply it to all. Then I come to slideshow. I start from the current slide. After making any effect, I start from the current slide. This is slide 1. This is slide 2. We go to slide 3. Slide 3 is coming. Slide 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then it's done. This is my work. After completing your work like this one, you consider it done and dusted. It has been a long time, but it's highly needed part of you to do it, for you to come and give a quality presentation. Bye bye. Make sure you subscribe and follow for the next video coming.